Hi, everybody. Welcome to Am I the Asshole podcast. I'm here with a very special guest, Emily Winter. Emily, tell these people who you are.
Hi, I'm a comedian. I'm a writer and comedian in New York, and I am just another writer and comedian in New York. There's a million of us.
Well, you are also your fiance now of our previous guest, Chris Calogero.
We're getting married in 17 days from this recording.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't believe I got you to do this 17 days before your wedding.
Dude, I was working all day and designing a seating chart. I was really happy to come up here and take a little break.
Well, that's perfect, and I've chosen some relevant and semi-relevant stories about that. Our second story of the day is AITA for spanking it to nudes of my BFF. That's actually not connected to your wedding.
We'll see.
But first, AITA for excluding my blind friend from my wedding. I have a friend, Bobby, who struggles with his eyesight. He's quiet and solemn most of the time, but he's a solid guy and he's good to spend time with. We met at college a couple of years ago and have taken tons of classes together. Our first year of college, we lived together and we've stayed friends since I moved out. After the first couple of weeks of knowing him, it emerged that he was registered blind. He's not completely without his sight, so it's not like we didn't notice this guy with a cane and a dog. It's just that he needs mega-sized text to read and he's not allowed to drive or get his license. He's completely independent though and has a free public transport card to get to the bus and train since he can't drive. He's always been a bit of a home bird as well, so every weekend he'd travel about 2 hours back up home and 2 hours back so that he could visit his mom and dad. Now, my fiance and I have been dating for over 4 years and we've been engaged for 18 months. As is the way with weddings, we sent out save the dates and invites along the way, and Bobby received both. Because I'm not a very organized human, the wedding invites went out a little later than they traditionally might. But since everyone who was coming knew about the wedding in advance and received a save the date, it was fine. We had a few people who missed the RSVP date by a couple of days, but no harm, no foul. The RSVP date was set for exactly 1 month before the wedding. Now for the potential assholery. Bobby also missed the RSVP date. He wasn't the only one I had to chase up a week later, but he was the only one who read the message and then took 2 further days to reply with a yes. Today, less than 2 weeks before the wedding, he's messaged saying he can only come to the wedding if he can have a +1. The reason for his +1 is his eyesight. Because he doesn't drive and he's not local, he needs someone, his mom, to be present to drive him there and back. I flat out told him no. He's not inviting his mom as a +1 because we've already told the hotel the number for the meal, but she is welcome for the rest of the day. The hotel, in reality, doesn't need the numbers up till 48 hours before, but the table plans are set. There's no easy space to slot her in, and I don't want a friend's mom that nobody knows enjoying the wedding meal and speeches and us paying for the privilege. I now doubt whether he'll come because I don't know if she's happy coming all the way to not even be fed. Am I the asshole? That is correct. That is a correct verdict.
Poor Bobby, right? Poor Bobby. Bobby's disabled. Bobby can't drive. And I don't think having a free bus pass is that great of a consolation prize.
No,
okay? Like, if somebody was like, Emily, we're going to take away your license, but you get a free bus pass, I'd be like, no, thank you. Thank you. Okay. I almost feel like he's framing it like it's not that bad for Bobby.
He spends this kind of whole paragraph kind of trying to paint a picture that like it's really not that bad for Bobby. Like he struggles with his eyesight, but it's kind of like he's blind. Like, I don't know why we're mincing words. Like, that's what being blind means.
It's not like, no, my finger hurts when it rains. No, this is a serious disability.
You're in the thick of this because you're planning your own wedding right now. If you were in this situation, would you kind of just eat it though because they're freaking blind, or can you see yourself being a little pushy about it?
As somebody who made a giant like Game of Thrones map of our reception area and made an elaborate seating chart and worked on it for days and days, like I totally understand that it's like hard work. But guess what? Your friend has a disability. He's blind and he needs a little help. And these are just one of the things you gotta do it. You gotta do it. You know what I mean? Right. You gotta change the seating chart. Like,
I don't know what exceptions people are waiting for in life. This feels like the kind of exception that is, well, exceptional. So like, go do the extra stuff. Sarah Harris writes, NTA, I just got married and it is unbelievable the number of people who expect to bring a +1 when they did not get one. It's so inconvenient to the bride and groom to have to rearrange everything for this one person. It's your day and your partner's day. If you don't want someone there, you don't have to have them there. End of story. I said, do you think it's inconvenient to redo seating arrangements? How about how inconvenient it is to not see ever?
I'm in a bride group on Facebook and I'm on there all day long. The gist of every comment is, it's your day, honey. You wear that purple dress, or you know, disinvite your mother-in-law. And I generally agree with all of it, except this person has a disability. You can't, how cold are you that you can't make room for somebody with a disability who needs a person to be their eyes for them?
Your wedding is your time to be the royalty. Do you think there are other examples of people going too far with that?
I've heard of so many bride stories since getting engaged, and just to the point of the brides are choosing really expensive socks and shoes for the groomsmen to rent, and just
that.
And it's especially know who you're dealing with. Most of us do not have tons of money to throw around. You just have to leave some things up to chance and say, here, just wear this color, or just rent this suit, whatever you do for shoes. You can't control everything. And I just feel it's an excuse for people to be these controlling monsters that live inside all of us. And it's horrible.
Michaela Carter says, YTA, if the hotel can accept numbers up to 48 hours before and you have the time, why would you deny them a +1? If it's a cost thing, unless you're a member of the royal family getting married or a celebrity like Beyonce, chances are not everyone who RSVP'd will even show up. You're totally being a bridezilla/groomzilla here. What about the aspect of what Michaela says, which is not everyone who RSVP'd will even show up? That kind of rung false with me. I thought people are pretty serious about wedding RSVPs, aren't they?
Yes and no.
Oh boy.
I know. I was the asshole once.
Oh, you no-showed on a wedding?
I totally no-showed on a wedding. I no-showed on a wedding. Mm-hmm. And I feel horrible about it now that I know what goes into a wedding. I fucking no-showed on a wedding.
How did you kind of repair that?
I lied.
Nice. We don't talk a lot about lying on the pod, but it's a tool. It's out there.
I think I said I missed my flight, but I didn't go to it. So in a way I did miss it, but I missed it because I just didn't want to get up at 4 a.m. and pay to get to Newark. And I didn't go.
Wait, so you purchased your flight, but then the price to take the train to Newark, you were like, nah.
I just didn't want to get up at 4 and do it.
Oh my God.
I know. It's honestly.
YTA.
I know.
YTA.
Me TA. ITA. I feel terrible in retrospect. Oh my God. I can't even believe I said that.
I'm really proud of you. That was a beautiful confession. Now, knowing that though, now that you have that in your head, if someone no-shows at your wedding,
them.
You're going to kill them. Kevin Hendricks writes, you sound like a real skinflint with this quote, us paying for the privilege garbage. Of course she's not happy to come to your wedding and be treated like persona non grata. Stop pretending like you give a damn about your friend. Your wedding is supposed to be a celebration of all the people who made you into the person you are when you become a part of a new family. If you want to celebrate being a cheapskate ableist who won't even push a couple of chairs a little tighter for your old roomie, then you already know what kind of person you are. Never mind being an asshole. You're like a poem about selfishness.
Kevin Hendricks, wow.
He's like my favorite commenter.
He's great.
Look, this guy's obviously the asshole. I don't really think there's any way around it. But what is he actually looking at in terms of redoing the seating arrangement? Are we talking about hours of work?
It can be anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour to make that work. But also if 15 minutes to an hour of extra work is inconvenient to you where you have to be a serious asshole, wait till you have kids, dude. What are you going to do about the rest of your life? How have you gotten this far? You just have to deal with some shit. That's
a good phrase that everyone needs to internalize. Part of life is just, you're going to have to deal with some shit.
Yeah. You don't want to change the seating arrangement at the last minute, but guess what? You just do it. And it takes 15 minutes, maybe because of these two people and because of the ways that all the numbers of people at every table, it ends up being this crazy thing that takes an hour, and you do it with your fiance and you laugh about it and you have a drink about it while you're sitting there with your seating chart and you bond. And you know what? It was actually a nice night.
Sebastian Pepperstick says, when you started talking about his mom being able to enjoy the dinner, not speeches, I started laughing. His mom has probably been to so many events that she does not even want to be at in order to accommodate her visually impaired child. So she was going to enjoy a meal at your cost. She wouldn't enjoy the speeches. I guarantee that.
Ding, 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 ding.
Right?
I'm sorry.
Nobody enjoys this. I'll tell you, maybe 10 people, the bride, the groom, their immediate relatives. That's all who enjoys the speeches. Like, this idiot actually thinks his best man's shitty inside jokes are Seinfeld. Like, no one gives a fuck about the time you threw up in Cancun, Kyle. Come on.
Who does this guy think he is? Like,
you want to pretend you're royalty, right? Isn't that really what it is?
Personally, my mission is to pretend that I'm a drag queen. That's like you're sitting here in front of me and I'm wearing like no makeup and like a t-shirt, and that's what I wear every day. And I'm like, this is my day to be a real queen.
That feels more reasonable. People should stop thinking themselves as kings and think of themselves as drag queens. That's so reasonable.
It's just fun. It makes it fun. Princesses are annoying.
So I think we both agree, AITA for excluding my blind friend from my wedding.
You're such an asshole, dude. How does this person love you? How does this person want to marry you when you can't accommodate for a blind friend? Who would marry that? Okay, well, good luck.
AITA for spanking it to nudes of my BFF. In short, she feels like I violated her privacy and I feel like I did nothing wrong. About a year and a half ago, we were just chilling at her place. I forgot I had a homework assignment due at midnight, so she let me use her computer to do it. Well, her homepage was Reddit, and I noticed she had over 900 messages. I knew she Reddits, but the first thing that came to my mind was, man, she has to be a karma whore to the extreme. What the F does she comment on? So I went to her profile when I discovered, oops, that was her NSFW account. I exited it out almost immediately, finished my homework, and then just left it at that. A week later, I was feeling horny, and I remembered about her account. It took a bit of digging, but I managed to find it again, and I spanked it to her. Ever since, I pretty much regularly jack off to her. It's not that I want to have sex with her, but she is hot, and the taboo nature of looking at someone I knew kept it alluring. Anyways, I majorly effed up when hanging out with her today. Her boyfriend's birthday was coming up, and she asked what she should give him. Like an idiot, I answered, you should give him a striptease with those fishnets you have. I don't know why the F I said that. I had fishnets in my head because I spanked it that morning, and I forgot to realize that it was actually her who posted a picture of herself in fishnets a couple of days ago. She asked, how do you know that I have fishnets? And I tried to just say I was joking, but I eventually admitted that I knew her NSFW account. She asked for how long, and I was honest, for the better part of a year. She was furious. She said these pictures are private pictures and that they were not meant for my eyes. In all honesty, I think she's being kind of ridiculous. How are you posting pictures of yourself online, then you're mad that people spank it to the pictures you post online? I apologize for hurting her, but maintained that she posted those pictures, and I just happened to find them. I didn't mention I found them on her computer, but to my defense, she does have some identifying markings and a couple of pictures where she shows most of her face. If she was trying for anonymity, she did a shit job. She said if I found her account, I should have just pretended I didn't, and that she feels gross and violated, and she wanted me to leave. I feel like I'm going insane. I mean, if they were on her phone or something, I'd completely understand, but she invited herself to be spanked to by the pictures she posted. Was I really unreasonable in spanking it to publicly posted pictures? AITA.
He's been spanking it to her, and if he didn't know they were her, that would be like the most hilarious millennial sad meet cute for like a rom-com. Right. Like, oh my God, it's been my best friend this whole time.
Right, like she's at his house and he's like, I always jack off to this girl. And she's like, oh my God, that's my tattoo of a starfish.
Yeah.
That would
and then they fall in love. This is different.
This is a lot different. Guys jack off to shit, and we do creepy things like this. So I kind of see his side in terms of, look, if I had a best friend who was a girl, first of all, let's be real. That's probably going to be, I want to fuck her, at least on some level. That's there.
Interesting. 3 of my bridesmaids are men. I have so many deep friendships with men that are not sexual.
Well, yeah, they're not sexual to you.
They're not to them, although I think like one of them was my boyfriend for 5 years, and now we are best friends.
Right.
Yeah. One of them, we went to high school together, and we got out our kiss in high school.
Right.
So then, we've had 15 years of not having to do that. We're like, oh, you taste like milk. Goodbye. You know, it was like very innocent 15-year-old stuff.
No, you know what? You're making me back off because look, have I fantasized about women I know? Yes, but not my friends. You're right. Like people that I would regularly interact with, I would never do that. That would feel wrong and weird. Like I also happen to be in a relationship, so that's another aspect of it.
That's another thing.
But it would feel like cheating, and that's why I wouldn't do it. He's single. I think that's a big part of it too. This guy's younger. I think this guy's a little bit younger than us. You know,
sure.
He's not necessarily...
I mean, he goes to Reddit to check off. So, I mean, I don't know many.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with being 30 and checking off to Reddit. Lisa Danielle Porter writes, they're on the internet, so clearly she has a see me naked world fetish, and you have a creepy taboo voyeur fetish. So y'all are both assholes in the situation, and I'm not sure why you're not dating. So I completely disagree with her, and you're saying, well, why do these girls post on Reddit? Why do these women post on Reddit? I don't think it actually is sexual. I'm sure there are some exhibitionist women who maybe get off to it, but I think it's validation.
And I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's evil. I think it's an expression of human feelings. It's fine.
If he had just said nothing, right?
Yeah.
He would have been okay in this situation.
Yeah,
I would argue. I would argue that going onto someone's Reddit and peeking into their messages is not quite a full asshole crime. It's a little disrespectful, but with your best friend, come on, give me a break.
I can't imagine hanging out with somebody all the time and then as like friends in a non-sexual way and then masturbating to pictures of their body. Like it brings in this third element that is making the friendship feel a little inauthentic to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole friendship's inauthentic.
Yeah.
I think he wants to be with her.
He does. He clearly does.
Is that a friendship? It's interesting because you said all your friendships are very unsexualized. There's kind of like even no plausibility of that. Maybe that's the whole thing that makes this work. So maybe they never even had a friendship. And that's not to justify it, but it's just to paint a different picture of what the reality really was.
Well, there's a lot of quote unquote friendships between straight males and females that is one person pining and the other person sort of enjoying the pining. I've been in that position where I'm like, I don't want to date this person, but they keep making me dinner and we're going to be, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I was like in college and stuff. I'm not an evil, fully grown adult, but it's not cool. But I think we all probably use each other a little bit in that way.
It's using.
It's not good.
Because it's unequal on both sides. One person wants something more from that person, and the other person basically is just sort of enjoying their shallow adoration.
It's great to be wanted. It's great to have somebody walk your dog for free or do whatever it is that whatever kind of favors they're going to do while they try to prove to you that they would be a great boyfriend, all the while you having no interest in them. It's a very common scenario. I do think, well, first of all, he shouldn't have told her, but I think that he shouldn't have done. I don't think he should have done it.
I've been in such a relationship. Let me say that. I've been quote unquote friends with a girl where all I wanted to do was be with her. And I know that if I knew she had nudes online, I'm going to find those nudes. There's an itch. There's a crazy male itch and it's not okay. But like, look, there's no harm. The harm here was the telling.
I do think that there could be harm in that if you are you're consistently doing this and consistently seeing the person, you're secretly sexualizing them without their knowledge. And I just feel like I don't know what the way that falls apart is after a long time, but there's something is going to come out, and look at something came out. And I just feel like it's inevitable. Like you can't just have such a big secret like that from your best friend for that long and expect that you can just carry on these two different versions of them. Like it's just not going to, at some point it's going to fall apart. And that's what happened. And I guess that is my worry about him doing this in the first place. And then the worry came to fruition exactly as you would expect it would.
This is not a healthy relationship. Sarah Carroll writes, oh God, you should just never talk to her again or any other people probably. I think that reflects what I'm talking about. It's like, look, guys are creepy. Being a man is learning to be like, hey, that's not an okay thing to say out loud. That's not an okay thing to act on. But the impulse is there. I think part of not being creepy is not saying things. And this guy said something that shouldn't have been said. Part of being an adult person is like knowing like when not to say things. And this was a no-no.
I get that like men are horny monsters, but like, sometimes we are too. And like, all people are fucking crazy, and you gotta censor yourself, and you didn't do it, and you masturbated to your friend for a year.
Adam Davis writes, how old are you to be habitually spanking the monkey? Come on, Adam. Don't come for the one I love. There's nothing wrong with how much this guy spanks the monkey.
Wait, are you supposed to stop or something? Like, how old is Adam Davis?
He's 40, and then no more masturbating once you're 40. So then OP updated the post.
Huge update. So I tried calling her. She understandably didn't answer, so I decided to text a huge apology instead. I also decided to call her boyfriend and apologize to him personally. To my surprise, he did pick up. I told him that I was sorry about everything and I've crossed some serious boundaries and that I'll step away from the friendship if it would make him comfortable. Well, he was completely confused and asked me to clarify. I told him that I figured my friend told him what happened, but the gist was that I found her NSFW account and hid it from her, and I violated her trust, and I'm sorry. Well, he had absolutely no idea what NSFW account I was talking about. So I sent him a link and he was dumbfounded. He didn't know that account existed. I had no idea. I just assumed because they were dating, she'd of course tell him. He appreciated the fact that I told him, and he views what she did as cheating and confided in me that he's going to break up with her. I feel horrible for causing all of this drama. I'm a shit friend and most definitely lost one of the best I've had, even if she was cheating.
And the notion that this is cheating is really convenient for him. It's just such a classic narcissist play. Like, instead of taking responsibility for his actions, he's going to mess up her whole life so he can continue to delude himself into thinking he has any kind of high ground.
Now we run into the problem where she also may be an asshole.
I'm not ready to go that far. I think if my girlfriend told me tomorrow, hey, I've been posting pictures where I could technically be identified on Reddit, showing off the goods, I'd be upset, but I don't think it crosses into cheating, especially if they're not identifying, right? It has a very different intent than sending nudes to individuals. Most of the time it's going to be validation driven, but even if it's not, even if it is sexual and you're like getting off to guys like saying shit to you, I would be like, that's really specific. I feel like you didn't tell me about it and you withheld something from me, but I don't know. I don't think it's on the same level as cheating.
If you're in a monogamous relationship, I think that you talk about things that are sexual that involve in other people. And that includes the internet. And I don't think that it's wrong or bad to do it. And I don't think it's wrong or bad to do it when you're in a relationship or have a boyfriend. And I don't think it's cheating. But I do think it's something that you tell your partner.
I think the anonymity is a big component because I think it does get closer to cheating if it's not anonymous. Because if your partner was putting up pictures of their face, then it's like all these people have sexual information about your partner that you don't have. And that feels like kind of what cheating is.
Yeah, a lot of it. But I still think even without it, it's not cheating, not even close, but just icky not to tell your partner.
Doesn't justify what he did remotely.
No.
I think we agree. AITA for spanking it to nudes of my BFF.
You're the asshole.
It's time for everybody's favorite part of the show, listener submissions. AITA for not wanting them to turn the volume down at the theater. So I am hearing impaired. I wear hearing aids, and I can only enjoy movies at the theater if they have closed captions. These appear on an individual device that I can request from the ticket booth. The base fits in the cup holder, and a thin, bendable wire holds up a small rectangular screen that I can position in front of my face. There are blinders around the words, so not even the glow is visible to anyone in the theater, including anyone sitting next to or directly behind me. That's a lot of detail, but it's relevant because my disability literally does not affect or disturb anyone else who paid to see the movie. My husband and I recently saw a new release on a Saturday evening around 7 p.m. Approximately 10 minutes into the movie, the sound significantly dropped in the theater, to the extent that my hubby, who has exceptional hearing as he works in music, leaned over frantically in a whisper asked, "What's going on? I can't hear anything." I confirmed that I also noticed the change. He left the theater to report what was going on, only to return and tell me that the manager stated that someone in our theater reported that they're sensitive to loud noise and asked that the volume be lowered. What? But honestly, are you effing kidding me? As our experience was significantly negatively impacted, we had to leave and received readmission tickets, but AITA for believing that management should not have honored this request.
I didn't know they had these things at movie theaters, and that's awesome. And she is wonderful for using them.
AITA, if I literally want to go to the theater and be like, can I get a closed caption? Because your boy likes to read.
I just want to try it. I just want to read my movies. This is the thing. When you go to the movies, you expect to be assaulted by sound and the biggest screen you've ever seen. And it's a harrowing experience, even going to like a boring movie. And that is what we all sign up for. We just sign up to be overwhelmed by noise and visuals when we go to the movies. Maybe you need to find a different way of consuming the movies. Like it's
television, baby. Watch it on a TV.
Yeah. I mean, this person, what? I just want to go to a movie, but not have it be like going to the movies. Can you do that for me? Like what? No.
It's a little bright in here. I'm noticing one of the walls is covered with a moving image. Could we maybe tone that down? Kathy Bisanel says, NTA, get earplugs if you don't like the noise instead of inconveniencing everyone else. This is like bringing a baby to a movie. It's fine until it bugs everyone else. Then take the baby out when crying starts. We're in a society, people. Turning down the volume and inconveniencing everyone else, it's like the exact opposite solution, because it's like, the best way to get rid of the virus will stop spreading if everybody dies.
Yeah. Jen Welch, my good friend Jen Welch, NTA, and I doubt the management was telling the truth. It's more likely that something effed up on their end and they made up an excuse you'd be sympathetic towards so they wouldn't have to refund anybody. Signed, a person who wears earplugs in movies because of sound sensitivities. So they did actually refund in a way because they gave them a ticket to a new movie. You have sound sensitivities, do what we could do when we go see My Bloody Valentine and wear earplugs in your ears.
I said the complaint is just as ridiculous as asking him to slow the roller coaster down or telling the stripper to stop stripping. Troy Rose says, yeah, I'm sensitive to areola. Could you please have the dancers wear pasties with the centers cut out? Thanks. Come on. That's a key part of the experience. And also it's like, I don't know. I feel like is this AITA from 1910 when Birth of a Nation came out? Like, come on. Movies are loud.
Movies are loud.
Have you not heard? So AITA for not wanting them to turn the volume down at the theater.
NTA. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You are wonderful. They're the asshole.
AITA for asking women to be quiet at a baseball game. I was at a baseball game enjoying the first several innings until two women arrived late and sat next to me. They proceeded to talk loudly to each other about work and friends and everything. They were so loud, I couldn't hear the announcer. I tried giving them several bewildered looks, but they continued unaware. I traded seats with someone else so I could be further from them, but they were still too loud. Finally, I just leaned over and said to them straight, "You are too loud," and that I moved because of it, and that I still couldn't hear anything because of them. They looked ashamed and stopped talking altogether. At the end of that inning, they left their seats and didn't come back until right before the game ended. AITA for asking some grown-ass women to STFU.
This is so interesting, and I think rings true for like a lot of the questions that get asked, is that people get pushed so far. They get all ramped up in their brain.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
And then they explode, and then they do something really mean, and then the people that they had no idea that they were doing something wrong in the first place. But like, you have built this up so much in your head.
Yes.
Where like, if you just said, I have a very similar situation that happened. I was recently at the taping of a radio show that I write for, and it's important to me to hear what jokes work on stage. And there were two really loud women standing next to me and my friend, and he was so annoyed. And I was like, no, don't say anything because I'm too afraid of confrontation. And he just went over there and very politely said like, hey, we're just trying to hear, and could you quiet down? And they quieted down and then wrote us a note apologizing. And it was the sweetest thing I'd ever seen. And they were just lovely and wonderful. And I think if you just ask people politely to be quiet, they will do it.
I think this is a great point and a great insight. I've referred to this before as internalized unassertiveness. I think it's very toxic. People are confused about the difference between being aggressive and being assertive. And look, if you have a good reason for it, which in this case, You definitely did at your radio show. You were working there in a professional capacity. But in this case, this guy's trying to enjoy the game and he's being impeded by them. And that's a good enough reason.
Good enough reason.
I think the question that I'm wondering about is the how of this. I've kind of thought before that taking the indirect route can work. And so I was curious what you would think of this. But like, is it better to go to people and say something more like, hey, did you catch what the announcer just said? I just couldn't hear it, and kind of clue them in?
That's so like backhanded.
It's backhanded.
It's so bitchy.
Is it bitchy though? Does it have to come off as bitchy?
I think it does. If you did that to me and I was talking, I would be like, okay, you could have just asked me to quiet down. Jesus.
Interesting. So being passive in that way, you think doesn't
it's passive aggressive.
It's passive aggressive. Another thing we talk a lot about is overreacting. And I wonder about this because it is an overreaction. You're accusing this guy of overreacting. And I think you're onto something because he has built up his own reaction by his lack of assertiveness.
He's a mess. He's in his insides. He's burning so many calories. His insides are going crazy. I could feel it. I think
this is a more valid case of overreacting because basically through your own inaction, you have cultivated your reaction.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like just growing a plant of hatred inside you. And it's like all you had to do was say one little thing. Yep. Kevin Hendricks writes, YTA, the announcer is just saying what's happening right in front of you. Can't help but feel like if they were dudes yammering about sports, you'd have been clammier about shutting them down. Loud bowl full of people is going to be loud. Quit going to games alone. Got him. Richie Martin says, LOL, I love how this miserable bastard makes a point to say it's two women being too loud at a baseball game. My God, women? They're not even supposed to be at a sports match, and everybody knows hoopla from women is just so shrill and annoying. Jesus Christ on a stick.
Thank you, Richie Martin.
I've previously said, don't tell people what to do. Don't tell them exactly what to do. Let them figure it out. But I think I'm starting to back off on that because you're telling me that this line, excuse me, did you guys hear what the announcer just said, is passive aggressive? You called me a bitch by proxy. You did call me a bitch, Emily.
You're a little bitch. Yeah.
Am I a bitchy boy?
You're a bitchy boy. Excuse me, did you hear what the announcer just said? I couldn't make it out.
Hey, sorry. Guys, I was just wondering, did you guys just hear what the announcer said? Because I just couldn't hear.
Oh, he said, fucking die.
Would that play as bitchy? Am I delusional?
No, that was super bitchy.
That was bitchy?
Yeah.
But I'm all alone at the game. Couldn't I plausibly be asking?
If I was talking, why would I be listening to the announcer?
You're right. It's clear what's going on every level.
I'd be like, so you're mad at me. I'm like, why wouldn't you just say that?
I'm uncomfortable because I think I just realized that I'm a bitch. Like I am.
Have you actually done this though?
With strangers in general, it does seem like be direct is a pretty good way.
But kind.
Direct but kind.
And empathetic and giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And he didn't do that when he was like rude. Giving them the benefit of the doubt would have been like, oh, you guys, I'm so sorry, but like I just can't hear and you probably don't even realize that you're being really loud, but I'm so sorry. I don't know. But there's a benefit of the doubt way of doing it.
So AITA for asking women to be quiet at a baseball game. We agree.
You're the asshole. Just the way you did it, buddy.
AITA for charging a guy $400 for playing me. I've been dating a guy for 2 months. I haven't had a serious boyfriend since my divorce 8 years ago. I spent a lot of time with him and have introduced him to my family recently. I've met his as well. Well, 2 weeks into us dating, I got a PM from some girl who sent screenshots of them talking about hooking up. I thanked her for sharing and then asked him about them. They were literally happening while I was at his house for dinner. He said he was just messing around and it wasn't serious. He is a huge social media whore who loves attention. I still had a guy I was texting that I had been on a few dates with. Fast forward to last week, 2 months in, and we are supposedly exclusive. He already claims his love, gives me money, $500 for anything I need, bought me a ton of stuff I never asked for. I got another PM from his ex-GF with screenshots of him telling her she's beautiful and he misses her relationship. She asked him about his relationship and he told her that I don't take him seriously, so now I'm pissed. I've cut off my hose for him, had to meet my family. What's going on? So I don't confront him. I told him I needed money for brakes on my car. He cashed at me $400. Then I sent him the screenshots from his ex and tell him, haha, MFer, you have to pay to play when it comes to me. Then I blocked him on everything. He emailed me that I needed to give him back the money. I said, go ask your ex for it. Am I the asshole for being so vindictive?
This is insane. insane. First of all, she's been dating this guy for 2 months and she's already made over $1,000 on him. Jeez,
That's a great play.
That's crazy.
But he's throwing the money at her, Emily. He's the one who's buying her all this stuff, giving her $500. This guy's throwing money at her, so she maybe sucked a little money off him.
But I mean, there's so many warning signs just about the person, the letter writer here. It's wrong to steal. And I think
agree that it's wrong to steal.
It's really, reading this, it makes me feel great because as a person whose exes owe them hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, it feels great to see it happen the other way around. And I know so many women whose exes owe them money.
A lot of people called Submitter a thief. I don't buy it. Submitter didn't lie when she asked for the money. He, the guy, assumed he hadn't been caught in his lies. He was the one deceiving her. She exploited it. He willingly gave her the money.
To me, it's clear they're both assholes. I do think it's stealing because he gave it to her thinking it was a gift. Yeah, because he had...
No, it was a gift.
Okay, it was a gift, thinking that he was giving his girlfriend a gift.
Yeah, and she was his girlfriend when he gave the gift.
But she took it knowing that she was going to turn around and break up with him right after.
On the semantic level, can you back off stealing? Can I bring you over there? It wasn't stealing. It was deceptive.
It's stealing.
I'll give you deceptive.
I think it's stealing.
I don't think that's what stealing is.
She's exploiting her position. So she's using her position as girlfriend to get the money. But then as soon as she gets the money, she takes away the girlfriend thing. And she knew from the beginning. It's not like they had a fight later that day and she's like, wah, wah, oh, well, bad timing. She knew what she was going to do. So basically, she's in the mindset of, I'm not your girlfriend. But he doesn't know this yet.
Well, but he was the one who had already cheated on her and
it doesn't excuse her bad behavior. It doesn't excuse her
100%. But I think it's fair to say that it wasn't really stealing.
I mean, this is a case of, I think you're the asshole, but I also really think you're a badass bitch and I want to be your friend. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes being the asshole is awesome because like the other person is such a big asshole too.
Where I said NTA, he was manipulating you with money and you let him play the game he wanted to play. You then informed him the game was over due to the screenshots. He was treating you as one of his many sugar babies. You played the party, cast you in.
I like what Sarah F. Carter said. You can be wronged and still be the asshole. YTA. This guy is also an asshole, but in this situation, he's not the asshole. You are. Your reaction was out of proportion and weird. You should have blocked him and moved on.
But why? Why is Submitter the asshole? The way I see it is this guy started a fight and he lost. He was playing the games with her. He was the one who wanted to play the games.
So you're saying if you cheat, they can do some kind of other damage to you. That makes it okay for other damage to be done to you.
He's throwing around money for no reason. He gave her $500, bought her all kinds of gifts she didn't want, so she zapped him a little bit extra.
We can't know how much $400 means to him.
He gave her $500 after 1 month. That's a crazy gift.
It's a crazy gift.
Cash?
I mean, we don't know how that happened. I mean, this is a wrong thing to do, but if she was my friend, I would have given her a high five, but she's still the asshole.
There's no way I'm bringing you to not the asshole.
No way. Do you really think she's not the... Oh, boy, you really... Yeah.
I just feel like what he did was wrong. He started a fight, which is, in these terms, he started deceiving her and he started playing a game and then he lost. Like, I want you to convince me that everyone sucks here, but I don't see it right now.
I don't think that it's a game. I think it's like life. I think he fucked up and she decided that this was the proper punishment, but it's not.
You think that the punishment doesn't fit the crime?
All you can do is just leave. If he cheats on you, all you can do is leave. But you don't get to decide if he gets to lose a finger or if he owes you money or... But where's the line? If you get to be the judge...
But it's painful for someone to cheat on you. You acknowledge that?
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is vengeance. This is retributive. Are you telling me that the amount of emotional pain he caused isn't worth $400? Is that the issue?
No, I think that emotional pain...
So you want her to just be screwed over? You keep saying she's a bad bitch.
She leaves. You gotta leave. If your boyfriend is cheating on you and you don't have an open relationship, you just leave. And you already walk out with over $500 worth of money and stuff.
But the pain she felt. What about the pain?
I know, it sucks and life sucks. And you know what? People cheat and it's terrible. And I don't like cheaters and that's bad news, but you don't get to just decide that is worth $400. That's not for you. Like, you don't get to just take something.
He cheated on her and she cheated back.
Also, if your partner cheats on you, does that make it okay for you to cheat on your partner?
Well, no, it doesn't make it okay. That'll ruin the relationship. if
No,
you
but
do
I mean,
that.
like, how do you feel about that? Like, I mean, how do you feel? Like, if I caught my fiance cheating on me, he would be out, we would be done. But let's just say he didn't know it. I mean, do I cheat on him first just to get back at him? Like, what is this?
You got me.
I think you just have to be a good person, even though everybody else sucks. Because if you go as low as they are, we'll never stop.
You won me over. This might be the first time this has ever happened.
Really?
I'm switching sides. I mean, this is
New York City, look at what I did.
You got it. You're right. The fiance got me because if somebody got cheated on by their fiance and then they cheated back, I would say, well, you're both assholes now. I mean, you're right. So in other words, AITA for charging a guy $400 for playing me.
Everyone sucks here. Literally everyone sucks here.
We're just going to do a little bit of human conversation here. Emily, we talked a little bit about who you are, which is a TV writer, a comedian, show producer, any other adjectives?
No, that's it.
Soon to be wife, folks.
Oh.
One really interesting thing you did in 2018 was commit to getting rejected 100 times. It was covered in the New York Times. Very cool. And you made it to your goal, which was to get 100 professional rejections, and you succeeded. Looking back on that now, how do you feel about it? That's very cool.
I actually got 107 in the end, which is a real lot of rejections. I feel great. I actually really miss it because even though it was like a really crazy year of collecting rejections and feeling like crap a lot of the time, it really gave me a purpose. And doesn't it feel so good to just have a purpose in life? And this year, I've been trying to like work on longer projects and take very deliberate, thoughtful next steps and also plan my wedding. And I feel totally untethered because having, like doing quick projects where you're submitting articles and you're doing all these pitches and you have so much going on, it makes you feel like you're moving forward and it was great. And it can't go on forever. Like it's not tenable.
Do you feel like you can face more because like you're like rejection? I've done 107 of these before.
Yeah, sort of. Yes and no. I mean, a little bit for sure. It like steeled me. But also I think if you care about something, it's gonna hurt, Like I've been writing for weeks, like a submission that I'm gonna send to the New Yorker. And even though I got published there last year, I'm so nervous and I'm still nervous. And I just, because I put my heart and soul into it and they could say no very easily. So, yeah, I think it steeled me, but it also mostly just my favorite thing is that it allowed me to talk about rejection and to hear other people's rejections and to realize that it's not me and I'm not a horrible loser. I mean, we all are horrible losers, which makes nobody a horrible loser, you know?
Well, I recently ran into a statistic, and I'm probably going to misquote it a bit here, but I've been looking for a job for a while. I'm not trying that hard because, I want to do my own independent projects. I'm having the time of my life, folks. But I found the statistic online. It was like something like 110 resumes and like 10 interviews is the average for someone to get a job. And I was like, oh, this is great. And then I just started viewing this as like, oh, well, I just have to get my numbers there because they were nowhere near that. My like interview 4.
Right. It's all about getting the numbers up. I mean, sort of. I mean, it's also like you can't just, you're not going to go apply to be an astronaut tomorrow and hope that you can get it. So it's about like reaching a little bit like for the things that like you may or may not be qualified for, but also not being ridiculous, which on the other end of that, as somebody who produces comedy, it's very annoying when somebody's like, I did an open mic. Now can I be on your show that you work tirelessly to promote? And I'm like, no, leave me alone. Don't drag me into your dream. You're not there yet, So I think you have to be realistic. It's hard. You got to stretch, but also like don't put your problems on other people.
So one quote really struck with me in your article, really struck me with its honesty. You said, quote, over the summer, 2 of my best friends in my field realized some of their professional dreams. I was thrilled for them, but well, the but. Alone, I got so jealous that I lay on my apartment floor and cried until a line of cry drool wrapped around my colossal quivering head. Then I felt guilty for being jealous and cried about that. I want to say I love the honesty here. A thing I notice about when people post, when they judge, I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand that it's okay to have a bad impulse and that there's a big difference between like what you initially feel and how you act on those feelings. For instance, it's okay to be jealous of your friends. That's normal. That doesn't mean you're evil.
No, totally. And that does like really resonate with, I think, a lot of the am I the assholes out like questions out there. It's crazy.
Right. Like people will ask like, oh, am I an asshole for having this or that thought?
No.
And the answer is no.
Yeah, the answer is no, because our brains are, I mean, have you seen the internet? The human brain is not a perfect machine. Gosh, it's so cool being able to write that, because then it led to a conversation with one of my friends that I was jealous of. And she was like, were you writing about me? And I was like, yeah, of course. And she was like, oh, and she was like, I didn't even realize you were going through that. And we had like a really lovely conversation. So owning up to it and then like being able to, I don't know, just express it in like a clear way of being like vulnerable and a little embarrassed to express it is like has been so wonderful and helpful.
Do you feel like, I mean, I'm sitting here now telling you like been there, done that so many times, like literally that same cycle. I mean, I found it very validating to read this because I was like, I've definitely felt this exact thing, like been very jealous of my friends and then been like, oh, what am I, some kind of monster? So like reading this, I was like, oh my God, look, this is a very common thing.
Mm-hmm. It's super common. It's amazing to me at people that I admire and I would kill for their career have this same feeling and have told me since publishing this article that they have the same feelings about people above them, and it never ends. It's never going to end. Like the only thing you can do is deal with it from the inside, because you will never get there. So it's kind of validating in that way and like comforting in a way to know like, oh, this cycle of shit is never going to end. The only thing I can change is me.
I kind of default to hostile. Like I want to tear people down because I'm insecure. And I have to be
I love it.
You know, I have to be like, don't do that. There's no need to do that.
Yeah, but it's so fun.
It is fun. But I try to suppress it as much as possible because I want to be a positive person and I want to see the good in things. You know, nobody likes a complainer, essentially. Do you think there's something to be said about not vocalizing some of these thoughts that we have and negative things, or like feelings of jealousy, like this need to take others down and to put other achievements down?
I mean, I think feeling jealous and saying, oh, I feel jealous, and telling the appropriate person rather than the person that you're jealous of. Because like, think about it. Like, let's say you got a TV show and they didn't, in my, all the pitches that I have out there did not get to, and I was like, I'm so jealous of you. That would make you feel like, oh, well, now I can't enjoy it around Emily. We can't like have a drink and like celebrate, you know? So like, I think just picking the people that you are honest with is really important. And then finding it in yourself to be like, but you are happy for Danny's TV show, you know? And being like, Danny, I'm so happy for you.
Right. So you do think it's important to get these ideas out and like to tell somebody?
Well, it's so complicated for me because I'm finding success talking about my sadness and feeling inadequate. So I'm having a really weird experience right now where people are like, oh, cool. Yeah, we're interested in your other ideas, but what do you want to do with all of this sadness and failure that you have?
And you mean regarding the rejections?
Regarding the rejections. So like, it's
funny.
like, so now as 2019 has come around, the opportunities that I have are, you know, people are interested in other things, other ideas, totally unrelated ideas, but mostly they want to hear about rejection. So it's a really confusing thing to be finding success in literally talking about failure.
It's kind of beautiful though, especially now when there's so many like books about success, and I think your take is refreshing, enjoying the rejections.
It's easy for me to say when people are like, I love your rejection thing. Then I'm like, cool, rejection is now a comfortable place for me. And it's also, I think like as a woman especially, it's hard to feel like justified calling yourself an expert in anything. And this has, you know, people have been like, okay, give a talk. I've been giving talks on failure and rejection. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to be an expert on anything, I'm most comfortable being an expert on being terrible. So it's like a very comfortable place for me to be as a self-conscious woman who doesn't feel entitled to anything, you know?
I think what might be really powerful about the rejection stuff is that it's super relatable and people feel like they can really connect with it. And I think connection now, it seems so available, but it's really not.
It's so not. That's why I love this podcast, because we all get our blood boiling in the same way. Even if we're not coming out exactly the same on who's the asshole, we're still picturing these scenarios and we're all bonded in this just like anger-inducing scenarios. It's just amazing. It's an amazing feeling. But I mean, most of what's out on social media is just mind-numbing nonsense. And it's like alcohol. Like, it feels good in the moment and then depresses us later.
Right.
And so I think connection is like genuine, like healthy, good feeling.
Absolutely. It feels meaningful. It's something you can latch onto. It's something you can chew on, as I like to say. You can think about it and know that it's there. We're going to do a few games here. We're going to start with some Go Off. Our soon-to-be bride, 17 days, is it?
17 days.
Has chosen the topic for her Go Off rant, weddings that have cash bars. And don't we all hate that?
You would be surprised. Like, there's so many weddings that have cash bars, or just like an hour or two of white wine. And you're like, oh my God, I was waiting for the whiskey and the whiskey never came. And you're spending the whole wedding just thinking like, okay, I'm trying to like save myself for the good stuff that never comes, and no one ever even says it's not coming. And then you just and then you go up to the bar, and then you realize, because you've been getting table service the whole time, and then you realize that there's only wine and beer, and it is a cash ass bar if you want anything more. And I'm like, okay, I just gave you guys $200 worth of pots, and I want a goddamn drink. And also, as somebody who's preparing for my wedding, I have not been drinking a lot, and you save up these days where you get to have whiskey, and then there's no whiskey, and then you have to have a beer that was $8. Oh my God, I'm
what
so
is this,
upset.
Madison Square Garden? Go off!
Not gonna please everybody all the time, but you can get them so drunk that they forget.
Go
so
off.
that is it.
Go
if you're
off.
having a wedding, cut the number of people in half so that you can get the people that you really care about drunk, because that's the only thing we want, and it's the only way you'll ever get me onto the dance floor.
Go off.
More?
Whoa, that was
I think I'm good.
incredible. That was
Okay.
incredible. Rant of the century. We're going to do a little round of asshole advocates. The asshole will be defending today with a series of what if statements. Is the asshole who doesn't pick up his dog's shit.
What if he ran out of bags?
What if the dog took a very tiny poop like a rabbit?
What if the dog took a very runny poop that no one will be able to pick up anyway?
What if the dog is going to eat its poop in just a few minutes?
What if the guy is going back home to get a bag and then it plans on coming back to scoop it up?
What if the dog has a litter box and, oh my God, all right, I'm out. I lost. All right, well, we're going to finish up with a round of era of assholes. We're going to do the Victorian era, which is an era I know almost nothing about. So
Same.
hopefully Emily will carry the team here.
Oh boy, okay.
What about the asshole who's like, my house is more ornate than all of the houses?
What about the asshole who's like, nobody can have sex? No one is allowed.
What about the asshole who's like, my painting is very old. It's so old. I don't know anything about the Victorian era.
What about the asshole who made women wear whale bones and break their bodies just to like fit into these crazy outfits?
What about the asshole who's like, everyone will wear clothes that makes them feel extremely hot all of the time?
That's a great one.
Is that a good one?
What about the asshole who did not think that women and people of color were people?
Is that Victorian?
Maybe that.
Is that
I think
where
it
that
was
came?
everybody until right now.
That's every era.
I think it's every era, unfortunately.
What about the asshole who's like, my name's Victor. How about we name this era after me?
That is
You
so
wanna have
great.
it?
Oh my God, I love that. That's my
You
favorite
wanna have
one. What about the asshole who's like, the only good way to go out of this house is in a wig, son?
Yeah. What about the asshole who was like, it's a good look for men. A giant pile of white curls. Yes.
What about the asshole who wears stockings and cropped pants? Oh boy, what are you, a baseball player in my sex dreams? Get out of here.
What about the asshole who's like, I'm gonna go fly my kite and discover electricity? Huh?
Is that right?
You're crazy, Uncle Ben. That's not a fucking thing. You're a psycho. You're a psycho, and you were wrong. It did not rain in February. You're a liar.
Isn't he like way after?
I don't know anything about anything.
Okay. How about
are you gonna keep me in? You're gonna let me have it?
Sure.
All right.
Sure. The asshole who's like, I'm 72. I guess I'll just marry this 17-year-old.
I'm out. I'm really truly out. You won. Emily, tell all these people where to find you, any other information you want.
You can find me at my wedding. You can find me on the internet. My website is called EmilyWinterComedy.com. I'm on Twitter at EmilyMCWinter. That's it. I know it's weird. It's EmilyMCWinter. It's that on Instagram and Twitter. And that's all. And I have a show called Side Ponytail. It's every Wednesday at Friends and Lovers in Crown Heights. And I run it with some of my friends.
Incredible.
Thanks.
Well, it's been a joy having you. I can't say enough. You absolutely killed it.
Thank you. This was really fun. Thank you for having me.
We'll see you next Monday, everybody.